Hello everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Technical Tutor. In the previous class, we have done with an polymorphism. Today, let us see and types of members of the class. Types of members of class. Okay. Let's think if we have in class, the class contain and variables and method, right? The class contain and variables and method. Let's take one class. Here is one class. Okay. The class contain variables and methods. The class contain and methods and then variables. And I also explained that there are three types of variables: instance variables, local variables, and static variables. Right? I explained that three types of variables also. Now let's see and types of method. There are two types of method: instance method and static method. In this, there are two more types were there. The first method is an instance method, and one more is a static method. Instance method and static method. There are three types of variables. I have already explained that. The first one is an instance variable. Instance variable, static variable. Second one is a static variable. And the one more is a local variable. These are the three types of variables in Java. These variables I already explained you in before classes only. Today let's see and two types of method that are an instance method and a static method. Let's see the first one. First one is an instant method. The first is an instant method. The instant method can access both instant and static variable. Okay. It can access both instance and static variables. Okay, this instance method can access both instant and static variable. These instant and static variable which are defined outside of the method within the class only. These static variables will have a static keyword. Okay, and this instance method are an object specific. It is an object specific. For every of the instant methods, we have to create an object. Okay, it is an object specific. It is an object specific. Let's see a syntax for that. Syntax is nothing but an access modifier, return type, and a method name. Well, I'll write fully. Access modifier, return type, followed by an method name and parenthesis. This is a syntax of the instance method. Okay. Access modifier will be there, return type will be there, method name within the parenthesis and followed by braces. Okay. Now next, the second type is a static method. The second one is a static method. In instance method, we can access both the instance variables and static variable, right? But in the static method, we can access only and static variables, okay? We can access only and static variable. We can't access the instance variable, okay? It can access only static variable. We can access only and static variable, and these static methods are a class specific, okay? It is class specific. These static method are a class specific, okay? Now let's see a syntax for this one. Syntax will be as of access modifier. There is no space, I'm writing here only. Access modifier, static, return type, followed by a method name. Open and closed parenthesis and braces. Okay, this is a syntax of the static method. Here see instance method and static method, they both of the method syntax look like same, but they have, and for instance method there is won't be any static keyword, but this access mode, sorry, this static method will be having a static keyword, okay? This will be having a static keyword. Let's see for some example based on this instant method and static methods, okay? Now I have taken one class. Let's see an overriding concept based on this instant and static method. Okay. Overriding on. Let's see first the overloading. Overloading an instance and static, okay, method. Let's see an overloading concept on an instance and a static method. How we can overload the instance method and a static method. Let's see we can overload both of them, or we can overload only an instance method or a static method. Okay. Now I taken one class with an public class. So I'm going to take one instance method, public access modifier, return type I'm taking as an void, method name I'm taking as an yum. Okay, the overloading means having a same method name with different signature, right? Having a same method name with different signature is called as an overloading. These are the instant method because there is no static keyword. If the method is not having any static keyword means it is an instance method, okay? The method does not have any static keyword, it is an instant method. See, this is an instance method of one. I have to take one more thing. Public void yum of same method name but different signature, right? Same method name but different signature. See, this is only an overloading of instance method. We can overload the instant method, okay? We can overload the instant method because there is no static keyword in the both of the method. So there is an instant method, and overloading means same method name. Same method is there here. Yum. Both of them is having a same method name with a different signature. The first one is having a does not contain any arguments, but the second one is contain an integer as an argument, right? It is containing int as an argument. So we can overload the instance method. Let's see for a static method, okay? Public static void fun. So one more method. Public static void fun of string s. See, we not got any errors. See, the method is containing a static keyword, so it is a static method, right? The method is containing a static keyword means it is a static method. So we can overload the static methods also. See, we did not get any errors, right? We did not got any errors, so we can overload both static methods and instance method, okay? See, this is only a static method. The method is containing a static keyword means that is a static method. See, these are an overloading concept on the static method. Same method name with different signature, no argument with some arguments, right? Same method name with different signature. We can do an we can overload the both instant and a static method. So we have done with an overloading concept on an instant and static method. Both of them is possible. Let's see an overriding concept on both of them. Okay. Let's see an overriding on an instance and a static method. So I have taken one class with a sample class. Let's see. This is a class. Overloading. So you overloading means same method name with different signature, right? But overriding means changing the behavior of a parent class method from the child class. So we need here a two class. I already told you that overriding will happen only on the inheritance, right? Overriding is happening only on the inheritance. It is not applicable on, it is only applicable for an inheritance, not for others. Okay. Let's take one class. Public void here. Okay, this is one class. So let's take one more class. Close that class. Let me take one class. Class B extends sample class public void. Same method name should be there, right? The same method name should be there. See, we can override the instance method. There is no static keyword means it is an instance method. Instance method, that is an instance method. Overriding means same access modifier should be there in a both the child class and also in the parent class, right? Both of them should have a same access modifier. Yes, both of them is having a same access modifier. Public, return type should be also same. Void, and then method name also should be same. F, and their parameters also should be same. There is nothing in the parenthesis, right? No arguments. See, we can do an overriding on the instance method. Overriding on instance method. Let's see for a static method. Okay, let's see for a static method. While taking in class A, public static void m and class C extends A public static void m. See here, when we are overriding this static method, there will be a method hiding will be there. Okay, there will be method hiding. So only and the overriding will happen only for an instance method, but not for the static method. This will come in a method hiding. Okay, this is a method hiding. This is a method hiding. Method hiding is only for a static methods. Okay, it is only for a static method. We don't do any overriding on the instance method. Okay, we don't do any overriding on the instant method. Instant method we don't do any overriding for a static method. Overriding will happen only for an instance method. Okay, this is a method hiding. We don't do an overriding for a static method. This is an overloading and overriding concept on an instance and static method. Let's see one example. Let me take one class. Okay. I'm going to take as an class 1. Class 1 is containing some integers and also methods. This is an instance method, right? This is an instance method. Public void fun. It's doing some operation print fun method. Printing of fun method. Okay, this is an instance method, right? This is an instance method. Public void fun is an instance method. I already told you that we have to create an object for an instance method, right? We have to create an object for an instance method to access the data from one class to other class. If it is an instance method, we have to if the method is an instance method, we have to create an object of the class. Let me create an object for a class. New one. Okay. Now let's print them. Print o dot x, and by using an object reference o dot fun. See, this is an example for an instance method. Okay, this is an example for an instance method. This is an example for an instance method. So we have to create an object for an instance. Let's run the program now. See, I got the output for an instance method. So every time, whichever the instance method is there, every time we have to create an object for an instance method. Instance method are possible to access an data by using an object reference. Okay, this is an object reference. This is an object reference. Okay, this is an object reference. Now this is an example for instance method. Let's see one example for a static method. Let me take one class. Class 2. I'll take a static variable. Okay, I'll take a static variable. See, in instance method, if it is an instance method, we can access both instance and static variables. Okay, for example, static int y is equals to 3. This is a static variable, so I can access that variable also. Let's see now. See, dot y. See, I can access a static variable also. This is a static variable, right? The variable outside of the method with static keyword. So it is a static variable. We can access and static variables also. We can access an instance variables, and we can also access a static variable. So I got an output x, y, and other one. Okay, we can access an instance variables and static variables in the instance method. Okay, if it is an instance method, we can access both instance and static variables. So if it is a static method, let's see now. Static int a is equals to 20. I'm taking a static variable and a static method. Void m4. It's performing some data. Static method. Okay, this is a static method. Now, we don't need of creating an object for a static method because it is a class specific. When we load the class, and on that time only the static members has been loaded. Okay, when it is will be loaded into memory when class is loaded. Okay, it is loaded into memory when class is loaded. It is not no need of and creating an object for a static methods. Now let me access by that only. Print by using a class name dot variable name. Class name is an 2. Class name is 2. 2 dot the variable name is a. The variable name is a. And if you want to access the method name, that only 2 dot the method name is what? M4. Sorry, caps T. 2 dot the method name is m4. We don't need of creating an object for a static methods. Okay, we don't need of creating an object for a static method. Now I already told you that we can access only in static variables in the static method. Now let me take one variable. Let me access now. We can't be accessing of the by using an without creating an object, we can't be able to access. See, if I'm going to access means I'm getting an error. We can't be able to access the instance variables in the static method. Okay, we can't be able to access the instance variables in the static method. If you want to access the instance variable means I have to create the object. Now if we're creating an object means t is equals to new 2. Now print t dot. Yes, now I could access. See, now I could access. If we don't create an object means we can't be able to access the instance method in the static. Okay, instance variables in the static method. So we don't need of creating an object for a static methods, because static methods are recommended to access by the class name, because static members are a class specific. Okay, by using a class name only we can access the static method. We don't need of creating an object. The static methods are faster. These static methods are faster. I'll write it down here. Wait. Static methods are, okay, first thing, this is an object specific. No need of creating any object for a static members, because static members are a class specific. I'll told you that. And why it is class specific means, when it will be loaded into memory, when a class is loaded, the statics are faster. That one, static is faster. Okay, the static is faster, and I'll do that one also. Static members are recommended recommended to access by class name, because static members are as class specific, right? The static members are a class specific. Why it is class specific means, it is will be loaded into memory when the class is loaded. It will be loaded into memory when class is loaded. When class is loaded, on that time only the static members will be loaded into memory. These are the types of members of the class. There are two types of members of the class. There are types of member, that is a class contain and methods and variables. These methods will contain two types of instant method and static method. Variables, I already explained you that. Static method means we can access both static and instance variables. It is an object specific. Object specific means we have to create an object for a static method, sorry, instance method. So this is a syntax. And static method means it can access only a static variable. It is a class specific. That means we don't need of creating any object for it. Static methods, because and they are class specific, it will be loaded into memory when a class is loaded. And these are the some of the examples on an instance method and static method. And this is an overloading concept on instant and static method, and overriding on instance method. We can't be overriding the static method because it is a method hiding. Okay guys, I'm going to end here. uh, do some practice on these static methods also. It will be very easy when we go for an interview. If you get any questions on the static methods, you can do it easily. Okay, thank you guys.